to the UFC?
I am excited for that next step, 100%. I'm very excited.
Have they talked to you about a deal?
Not as of yet, no. Our management team have spoken with Sean, and we're still waiting on going back and forth. So at this moment, we haven't had a contract offer.
What's the holdup?
Not sure. I think the division was built for Cris Cyborg, and I think we're just all waiting to see what's the next step for her, and then I think we'll move forward and progress from there.
Are you ready to cross paths with her?
Oh, of course. We're all going to fight each other eventually. It's just a matter of when that will happen. I think she would like that fight to happen now, but contractually, I'm contracted to Invicta at the moment. She is with the UFC, and they're not allowing her to go back to Invicta. So at the moment, it's a bit difficult. So unless they come to us, there's not much we can do. But we'll be ready for that fight when and if it happens.
What brings you out here?
What brings you out here? To watch the fights. I've never actually been to Vegas or to a UFC. So I came out here to watch fights and to meet my new management team at Paradigm. They're all here because Steven is fighting on the card. So it was really great to meet them all in person for the first time and just kind of network and that kind of stuff and build a plan for what's next.
Did you meet with any of the UFC brass while you were here so far?
No, I have not.
Do you plan on?
No, I haven't. I leave tomorrow at 10, so it's just a short trip.
When did you get here?
I got here on Thursday.
Okay. So you've had a couple of days.
I've had a couple of days.
You didn't go to Brooklyn.
I didn't know.
Did you consider it?
Oh, of course, I would have loved to have been there. The very first featherweight fight in the UFC, that was a huge moment in history for not only the featherweight division, but for women in the UFC. It's the introduction of a new weight division. I feel like there should be more weight divisions for women. Weight cuts are a lot harder for us than they are for guys, and our bodies are completely different. So I feel like introducing new weight divisions is a very smart move, and it's only going to progress from there. And I'm excited for what women's MMA will look like in a year, let alone in 6 months.
Are you a little confused as to the direction of the division, because there's no one who has been signed, and even Cindy Dandwa has been signed as a bantamweight, and she was a featherweight. Of course, she fought you.
Yep.
It does seem a little curious the way it's going so far. Do you share that sentiment?
Yeah, but I understand it. Dana has said that this division was built for Cris, and I think they're figuring out everything. She's just been cleared by USADA. They're taking the next step, and I'm sure that they're talking with her and figuring things out. What's the next step for her and the division in the UFC? I think it would be smart to maybe start building division, and so when that is cleared, there are people there that she can come back to, and there's kind of a division kind of formed. But you never know with the UFC; they do things differently, so it's all up in the air.
How do you think you match up with Jermaine?
I like that match. That's an exciting matchup. I think we're both strikers, which is very exciting. I think that would be a very exciting fight for the fans, and I have no doubt that my hand would be raised. So,
do you think she would beat Holly? Who'd you got with that fight?
I had Holly pushing the pace, but Jermaine landed the more devastating strikes. I do feel that a point should have been taken at the end of the second time that blows were hit below after the bell, but they do say in the rules meeting that it's not that the bell doesn't define the end of the fight, it's the referee coming in and stopping it. So that's why the referee's there. He's there to stop the fight, and you are always there to protect your own self, and you don't have to worry about the other fighter. So if Holly stopped when the bell stopped, she should have waited and kept defending until the referee came in and stopped it.
If your contract talks don't progress, would you take another fight in Invicta while you wait?
Oh yeah, definitely. I want to stay active. I don't want to, I've been the one fight per year, and I'm a fighter that likes continual competition, and I'd like to have a goal to work towards. So I definitely would, if it's the UFC is taking a little longer than we like, I would definitely like to fight in Invicta for Shannon and defend my belt. So that's something that we're also looking at, depending on what happens.
Do you you have your next fight booked yet?
No, we haven't at this stage. We're in talks with Shannon about what she's thinking, and we'll go from there.
Speaking of curious moves, is it weird that you're still the interim champion when it's clear Cris isn't going back? Why not just make you the full champion, the full-time champion?
I do think it's a little, it's a very weird situation. I think we all know, and Dana has stated that despite, I think I read somewhere that he said, no matter how long Jermaine needs off, Cris will no longer be fighting in Invicta. She's fighting in the UFC. End of story. So I think it's a little weird. Like, I do think that Invicta needs to have some clarification on what is exactly going on with the interim belt, full belt, because if Cris isn't coming back, then she's no longer in the organization.
Right. And okay, so if let's say Cris fights Jermaine next, would a fight against Holly Holm as the only other 145er, I guess, in the UFC? Do you feel like you're ready for someone like her?
Oh,
resume?
Yeah, I would love to step up in competition and fight someone like Holly. She is a world-class boxer, and she's been fighting for a very long time. And I'd love to give all the fans who think that I'm not at that level yet. I'd like to show them what I've got, and that I'm world class with my striking, my wrestling, and my ground game. I'm getting better every day. I'm getting better every week that I'm training, and I'm getting better every fight. That's adamant since I came here. So I'm only getting better, and I feel like time is on my side.
Dana seems to appreciate when fighters kind of push the envelope a little bit and go for it. I mean, he's going to be here. He is here somewhere in the arena. Do you have any plan to maybe at least introduce yourself to him and tell him what you want? Here you have a chance to talk to him face to face.
I'd probably ask for a photo first, because who doesn't, with people they look up to and who have done great things for the sport. It's the same with fighters that I see. I'm like, oh, hi. But I'd love the opportunity to talk to Dana and just introduce myself. If it happens, it happens. Our paths will cross when they're meant to cross, and I think we'll do great things together.
Forgive me if I missed this, but how did you feel when Cyborg called you out on Twitter following the initial inaugural featherweight championship fight?
I thought I was very flattering. She sees me as her top competition. I think the fact that she's not looking at Jermaine means that I feel like she doesn't really respect Jermaine as a champion, which is understandable. I get where she's coming from. But I thought it was very flattering that she sees me so highly, and she was fighting Marlos Conan when I was still in high school. I only got into the sport when I was 23, and I haven't even been doing this sport for 4 years. So to come as far as I have in such a short amount of time, I feel like really speaks to my determination, my hard work, and I have a lot more to give to the sport, and I'm ready for that next step.
You said you get where Cyborg is coming from with Jermaine. Can you elaborate a little bit?
Well, they brought two 135ers to fight in the first 145 division when, we all know that Cris Cyborg is the face of the 145 division right now. So I completely understand that, but there's girls like myself that we're coming up the ranks and we're putting our time in, we're getting better each fight, and I hope to take that place one day.
Would you prefer to fight for a title or fight Cyborg?
What was that, sorry?
Would you prefer to fight for a title or fight for Cyborg?
Oh, I don't care. It doesn't really matter. Like, I feel like if I fought Cyborg, essentially, I feel like if that fight were to happen, I'm fighting the best woman in the world. So I'm fighting what I consider the champion. I do know that I full respect to Jermaine, but Cris Cyborg hasn't been beaten in over 10 years. Jermaine has, and she's been unbeaten at her 145 division. So, I would welcome that fight when it happens, and we will be ready.
There are technically 4 featherweight champions right now. You, Cyborg,
Yes.
there's Julia Budd.
Yep.
And who's the fourth?
Jermaine.
Jermaine.
Awkward.
How would you rank those 4?
I would put, oh God. I feel like I'm going to put my foot in my mouth.
Did you see the Julia Budd fight last night?
I didn't see the fight. I seen the finish. Actually, I'm sad that Marlo's actually retired. She is such a pioneer in the sport, but I think it was her time, and I think she knew that. And all respects to her, she is a tough, tough lady. And I can't thank her enough for what she's done for women in this sport. But in terms of ranking them, I would definitely put Cris first. And
How do you yourself?
I've been doing this for not even 4 years. She's been undefeated for 10. I know that one day we'll fight, and I will take her place, but I'm realistic, I'm honest. Like, I'm not going to lie and say, no, I am the best in the world, when I know that I have so much more potential and I've got so much more to learn and grow, and experience-wise. But I definitely think that she's number one, and second, third, and fourth, I would like to fight all three, or all two, the rest, Julia and Jermaine, and we'll fight it out for second place. I would love any of those fights.
Do you like Vegas?
It's interesting. It's crazy. Like, I'm not a big fan of like big crowds. So like walking down on the strip is just like everyone's everywhere, like going in different directions and all over the place. And it's weird. Like the temperature, it gets like really cold, then really hot. And you have to, it's kind of like Missouri. You have like 4 different seasons in one day. It's very weird.
I just had one more question. The UFC is making its debut in Kansas City in April. Would that be the perfect scenario for you to try to fight on that card? Kind of Invicta's, home base as well.
I would love the opportunity if that's what they wanted. I want to fight as often as I can, and I don't want to wait for anyone to be all up in the air or they're injured, or I want to fight now, and if they can find me someone and they want me on that card, I would welcome the opportunity.
So you want to be on that card?
Sure. Who doesn't? Who doesn't want to fight in front of their hometown? I would actually love to fight in Brisbane or Melbourne, back in Australia. I haven't fought there in over 2 years, and I haven't been home in over a year and a half, so I would love the opportunity to fight in front of my home, in front of my family, my friends. That's the fights that I want to go back to Brisbane or Melbourne and fight there. It's for Australians, it's fighting at the top level of the sport in your home country is it's like something you dream towards. So to be able to have even if I could debut in Brisbane or in Melbourne, that would be phenomenal. I would welcome that opportunity, and I would put on an amazing fight for the fans.
Is Kansas City your hometown now, though?
Yes. So I'm officially now in Kansas City, but Australia will always be my home.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
No